Right guys, so it's Friday, we're nearly there, last day. So we're fasting again at our OMAD today, so that means we're fasting until 6 o'clock, 6 until 8 is our eating window. So what do we do then afterwards? Somebody's already asked, what do we do for the next 3 weeks? But it's not even the next 3 weeks, what do we do tomorrow? So Saturday, we need to be careful coming off the fasting altogether. So for me, Saturday is a bit of a strategic day. I'll still fast until maybe about 3 o'clock on a Saturday, all right? Because I know for a fact that on Saturday night there's going to be a bit of overindulgence, maybe some alcohol. And if I start eating like breakfast at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Saturday morning after we weigh in, it's just going to open the floodgates, right? And I'm going to overeat. And it's not even an overeating worried about putting weight back on. It's the bloatness. It's just the uncomfortableness. So knowing that Saturday night for me is normally like me and as I have a glass of wine, maybe some nice food or something, maybe chocolate and popcorn, I'll still fast till about 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock on a Saturday. I do that every Saturday anyway, just because I know I'm going to have extra calories coming in. Be careful with alcohol consumption because you are very depleted. You will get drunk very quick. You'll be a cheap date tonight, straight away. So be careful with that. Again, I would probably recommend having the protein shake half an hour before whatever time your first meal is, if you can plan it. I know it's very difficult on Saturday. Sometimes food happens spontaneously. Like sometimes we just stop at the coffee shop and we start eating, so it's very hard to pre-plan. But if you can, I would start with a protein shake. Again, the protein shake just makes you feel a wee bit full up, lines the stomach, and stops that overeating, that gorge mentality, which will happen. It's natural, guys. Don't be thinking there's anything wrong with you. Once we've been very depleted and we start to eat those carbs, especially the sweet stuff, the body just craves more and more and more and more and more and more and more. All right, so that's how be careful now on the Saturday and the Sunday. So what do we do moving forward? We want to try and have like a maintenance phase. A maintenance phase is probably about 1,800 to 2,000 calories for most of these. The reason why we want to do this, guys, this is really, really, really important, right? Intermittent fasting, for all its benefits, is amazing. But the downside of intermittent fasting is it's obviously a reduction in calories. Now, we should be eating about 1 gram per pound of body weight per day in protein. So if I weigh 200 pounds, again, that's my lean body weight, I should be eating about 200 grams of protein a day. So if you think about what your ideal weight would be, if I had lost all the weight I wanted to lose in an ideal world, what would my ideal weight be? Say it's 10 stone. It's just using a number, for example, because it's easier, because there's 14 pounds a stone. So it would be 10 stone would be 140 pounds. Then you would be eating 140 grams of protein per day, divided up equally in between 3 or 4 meals. That's the target we need for optimal health, right? Just for good, healthy muscle maintenance. And it's very, very high. It is high. Most people struggle to even eat 100 grams of protein. So we need to be eating about 1 gram per pound of body weight. As we age, that actually becomes higher. Over 40s, that becomes 1.2 to 1.3 grams per pound of body weight. So anyway, because when we're fasting, we're obviously eating less. It's nearly impossible to eat 100 grams of protein. We are burning muscle tissue. So that's why we fast for 5 days. That's why the intermittent fasting challenge is 5 days. Any more than 5 days, you would start to burn under muscle tissue. Now, that's the real issue here. Muscle tissue is what speeds up your metabolism. Muscle tissue is what keeps you healthy, what keeps you fit, what keeps you strong, what keeps you mobile, right? When we start to break muscle tissue, there's a whole cascade of things that go wrong, right? Your immune system's compromised, everything compromised, your bone mineral density is compromised, everything, because we can't be living in a caloric deficit all the time, right? It's not good for you. It's the problem with women who, and I'm saying women because it usually is women, not men, not so much, but it's normally women who chronically diet all the time. They lose weight, but they lose muscle tissue, right? And they look like crap. So your body looks awful because you've lost muscle, you haven't lost fat. In fact, most times when you start to burn too much muscle, your body will actually start to produce more fat as a protective mechanism, a survival mechanism. And this is one of the problems with Ozempic. See things like those weight loss drugs, right? 50% of the weight you lose, on average 50%. So that means if I lost, say, 3 stone, 1.5 stone was muscle tissue, not fat, right? Remember, I've said this before if you've listened to some of my videos, things like Ozempic, they're not fat burners, they're weight loss drugs. right? They are appetite suppressants. When you suppress appetite, you restrict the ability to bring in nutrients. Your body needs nutrients, guys. You need nutrients. It's like trying to drive a car with no oil in the engine, right? I know, again, I'm very guilty of using car analogies, and it's probably very male, but in my head, that's how I see it. Protein is oil in the engine. How far do you think you can drive your car with no oil in the engine? The thing's going to slowly break down, and she's going to seize up. You can't starve yourself of nutrients, guys. You need nutrients to stay alive, to stay strong, to stay fit, to stay healthy. All the things, to fend off diseases and illnesses and type 3 diabetes and Alzheimer's and all that stuff. You need nutrients for that, guys. Nutrients. So that's why if we do the 5 days very intensive fat burning phase, followed by 3 weeks muscle maintenance or preservation or muscle building phase, we get this nice balance of bringing in enough nutrients, feeling good and strong, doing a wee bit of fat burning, just enough that we burn fat and we don't burn on the muscle tissue. Because what happens is, you got to understand, you have a genetic DNA blueprint of who you're supposed to be from a muscular point of view, right? Even if we do weight training, there's still a limit to who you can be. Even like if you look at bodybuilders taking steroids, there's a limit to which they can grow to. Your body's got a DNA frame, who it wants to be, that's fit and strong and healthy and properly nourished. Here's what I want to be. Go through the word again. We're talking about muscle mass, not the fat on top of it, but the lean muscle mass, right? If that's compromised, if we start to break down more muscle tissue, which from a survival point of view, think about this logically. Like 1,000 years ago, maybe more, there would have been a great part of the year where food would have been very, very scarce. It would have been very hard to find food. So we would have burnt a lot of muscle tissue. Whenever food was in abundance or food was available, we are designed to gorge and overeat on it to replenish the muscle tissue and then stock up on a wee bit more body fat in case that famine or winter or starvation or deprivation comes again. So get fat, burn muscle tissue. Get fat, burn muscle tissue. So when we're in a calorie surplus, when we're a wee bit heavier, we can build all that muscle tissue. That's why you hear bodybuilders bulking up. They build muscle, right? They don't bulk up to get heavier, to get fat. Is to build muscle tissue, because we need that to nourish the body. So what happens is, whenever we, for example, use Ozempic again as the example, you stop the Ozempic, the weight loss drug, your appetite comes back, and the body goes, oh shit, I've burnt so much fucking muscle tissue here, I'm going to make my person overeat and gorge to get all that muscle tissue back, because my body is compromised. Remember, your chest is the way it is, and this is like a body armor protecting your internal organs, because again, we can lose a limb, but if we lose a heart or a lung or a kidney or a liver, we're dead. So all this is a protective mechanism. It's a shield, as well as carrying you through the world and making you move. It's a body armor for keeping everything inside strong, right? So you've got like a self-diagnostic that happens all the time. How is my muscle tissue? And that's called anabolic and catabolic. Anabolic, you'll probably know that from the anabolic steroids, which means muscle growth. Catabolic means to break down, to catabolize something. So are we anabolic or are we catabolic? You're never both, and you're never in between. You're like anabolic or catabolic. So if we're constantly dieting, then we're catabolic, because we don't have enough nutrients coming. So if I need 3,000 calories every day just to stay the way I am, and I eat less, something's compromised. All right, I'm lacking in something, because I'm not giving my body the energy it needs to work. I know I'm still trying to break on the body fat, but body fat has no nutrients, there's no vitamins, there's no minerals, there's no protein, there's no essential fatty acids, it's just stored energy which is converted back into glucose. So being in a calorie deficit all the time is not good for you, all right? I know you think you're lighter on the scales, but you're not leaner, you're actually fatter, but skinny fat. Does that make sense? And that's not fucking healthy, especially as we age. So this is why it's really important that we do resistance training to preserve or grow muscle tissue. We have enough protein every day, about 100 grams minimum for women, about 140 minimum for men, preferably that 1 gram per pound of body weight. Then we cycle through our fat burning phases, not weight loss phases, fat burning phases. Technically, I don't want you to be lighter, I want you to be leaner. This is why I always prefer someone using like a clothes size to check results rather than the scales, because the scales, you're just seeing that you're lighter, and in your head you think that's a fucking good thing, where in reality you're ticking, and I'm not saying this slightly, and I'm not saying this tongue in cheek, I mean this, you're fucking taking years off your life. right? Because you're burning muscle tissue, and it's not fucking good. By the time you get to 60 or 70, you're in a fucking wheelchair, you can't move, you can't get yourself up and down off the toilet because the muscles are just gone, and your bone mineral density is gone. You're riddled with osteoporosis and arthritis because you lived your fucking life in a caloric deficit thinking that being lighter was good or healthier. It's not. Being leaner is, right? Not lighter. You gotta get your head around that. Right, so we do resistance training, we eat protein, and we cycle through our fat burning, maintenance, muscle building phases. Does that make sense? So for the next 3 weeks, we're maintenance. You can count calories, you can count protein, you can count whatever, but we don't want to be living in a caloric deficit. And I know that's hard. I know some of you will lose a good lot of body fat over the last 5 days. You think, oh, I want to keep this going, I want to be, you get really excited. Guys, you're never going to get the results that you want. You're never going to lose fat and keep it off with that mentality. Right? You're not. I mean, we might be able to do it for maybe 6 or 8 weeks, but then it has to stop. But you don't stop. You lighter. It's just madness. Anyway, we're going to be around there. So I hope the rest of the week went well. I hope the week went well. Let me know how you get on. We're going to weigh in tomorrow morning. Let me know, put on your starting weight, your finishing weight, and the difference in between. But not just what you lost in pounds, but how you feel. How's the quality of your skin? How's your sleep? How's your mood? How was the challenge? Are you proud of yourself? Did you not think you would do it? Are you proud of the accomplishment you did? All those wee things are what matter. All those things is what I care about as a coach. Not the numbers on the set of scales. Like, that can fluctuate up and down all it fucking wants. I want you to look good. I want you to feel good. And if you feel good, you're more inclined to get the results that you want, right? I talk to a lot of women all the time in consultations. And I get some women really distraught and in pain and crying down the phone. And I mean that, crying. If I just lost the weight, I would be happy. Like, I hate who I see in the mirror. I hate how I feel. If I lost the weight, I would just be happy. You have to understand, guys, it goes the other way around. The reason why you put on the weight was because you're unhappy, right? And losing weight while you're unhappy is impossible because your emotional triggers to eat and want to overeat are always going to be there. But if you feel happy with who you are, happy with how your insides are, happy with how you feel physically, then you're more inclined to make better food choices because you don't have those emotional triggers. Does that make sense? So it's not if I lost weight, I would be happy. If you can start to feel better, because we're not focusing on a number in a set of scales, but we feel strong, we feel fit, we feel confident, our clothes sizes are getting smaller, we feel good, you're more inclined to keep that going and make better food choices because it's the emotional triggers that keep you stuck in this cycle. Does that make sense? Have a good day.